Let's move in now to the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls are terrible. They did get a win tonight against Charlotte. Kemba put up 47, but they only won 123-120. So, but you look at this, I mean, Fred Hoiberg even said before this game about the Rockets scoring 90 and a half.
Which is bonkers.
He said, I wish we could score 90 and a quarter. Or
no,
90 in a game.
Yeah.
And they've had some struggles. I think they only scored, I think it was against the Mavericks or something, they only scored 7 points in a quarter. The Bulls have been struggling this year.
Whew.
The tank is on. They're still leading the league in attendance, which is good for Jerry Reinsdorf.
That's all he cares about.
That's all he cares about. He cares about the money. But at least looking at this, Bulls going to have a top pick this year.
Yep.
Obviously, the lottery is going to come into this, and obviously it's going to come into other teams' performances as well. But Bulls looking like, for sure, a top 3 pick this year. And we're going to talk about it in 3 different sections. We're going to talk about players that are going to be there, at least the players that have been performing this year, at least so far, so the guys that have been currently playing for the Bulls right now. Then we're going to talk about Fred Hoiberg, whether he's going to be with the team, and then also, finally, the reason why we titled it about prospects. We're going to talk about the prospects that will fit on this team, especially with the players, and then possibly the coaching change, if a change does happen, that would fit with the coach. So let's look at the guys that have been performing so far. Obviously, Lauri Markkanen right now has been really good so far for the Bulls. I've been shocked by how well he has performed. I don't know exactly how he's doing it because, you know, I thought that he was going to be really limited as an athlete, but he's, you know, shown his athleticism so far. He's shown his ability to shoot so far. Lauri's been fantastic. I mean,
honestly, I think a lot of people underrated it because they watched him in college and watched him almost play out of his own position at Arizona. And then when you got to watch him play in the Euroball tournament, that was him for real. And that was the first little glimpse. And then on this Bulls team, thank you, Bobby Portis. You did work. You got Markkanen his time to start. And honestly, he's proven so many people wrong. And I love the fact that he brings a little bit more than people expected. Yeah, and Markkanen has looked great. And you look at him, and he's your future 4. I mean, he's a great stretch 4. I mean, I don't know exactly how well he's going to be defensively still. Yeah. He's not that creative an athlete. He's surpassed my expectations as an athlete. But then again, I don't think he's that great of an athlete. But so far, fitting into that stretch 4 role, he's been fantastic. Yeah. And then looking at Zach LaVine, the guy that was the big ticket market, or the big ticket, at least in that Jimmy Butler trade, LaVine, the 7th pick, which turned into Markkanen, and then, 16th pick. No, yeah, it was the 7th pick. We gave the 16th. The 7th pick, which ended up being Markkanen, and then obviously Chris Dunn, but at least Zach LaVine hasn't played a game yet. He's going to be practicing soon, though. You expect that he's going to be there next year as well, just due to the athlete and due to the presence and the scorer that he is. Yeah, no, and that's the thing. Like, there's a lot of question marks because of the injury, but let's be honest, he's overwhelmingly going to be like our guy. He's our main guy. If Markkanen isn't, it's LaVine. And I'm fine. Like, I think that tandem could work out really well because that gives us 2 amazingly good shooters. And LaVine can take it to the hoop still as a great slasher. So it's a good 2-piece core to start. The problem is there's question marks everywhere else. Yeah, and you got to look at Robin Lopez, exactly how long is he going to be on this team? Is he going to be traded at midseason? Exactly what's going to happen with Rolo. You look at the point guard situation. We talked about Chris Dunn. Is he the guy of the future? You look at that small forward position. There's really no one there. Bobby Portis has been great so far, but then again, with his problems, at least early on with Nikola Mirotic, what are you going to do with Bobby Portis? So looking at the Bulls roster, is there anyone else out there that you think is for sure going to be on the Bulls next year, or do you think it's all up in the air? I think a lot of it's in there. I mean, they still have a lot of guys under contract is the problem. Like, do they deserve it is the question mark, because like David Nwaba was super intense, great scorer off the bench, brought some life to this team, and honestly, I would love to bring him back. We do have him as an RFA, so I hope they pull the trigger on that. Other than that, I mean, Felicio got the money. He hasn't played very well. No, he's like cashed out pretty much at this point. Yeah. Nico, we talked about a little bit. We're hoping he gets traded. Well, he wants to be traded too. Yeah. And even next year, we're just stuck waiting. I believe that's a team option as well. So next year they can cut him. So Nico's probably not going to be on this team next year. We look at Chris Dunn. He's probably going to be on the team next year. But what's his role? I mean, do you expect him to be a starter? If Chris, we talked about it a little bit, but like if Chris Dunn, if your team has enough shooters around him, it's not the end of the world to have Chris Dunn as your starting point guard. He can distribute the ball well at times. It's just he can't be a focal point of an offense. That is clear. He doesn't have the skills right now, but he does have some defensive intensity, and he does have the ability to lock down as a defender on smaller guards. So I think there's potential there. I mean, ideal world, he's coming off the bench for you, but it's likely that with this class coming in, I don't know if there's a point guard who's going to be worthy of that #1 pick.
And at least looking at Chris Dunn, when he's on, he's on. I mean, you look at the game he just had against Charlotte, 22 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, 3 steals, 62% from the field. He also was 100% from 3. So he was 2 for 2. I mean, that's the thing is with Chris Dunn, he is still young. He's only in his second year. He's 23 years old. I'm questioning on whether point guard's in need, and you also just brought that up with looking at the draft. There's not a true point guard out there like there was last year with Fultz, Dennis Smith Jr., Frank,
and Ball,
and De'Aaron Fox as well. You know, there's not a true point guard out there that you could really take in and be, you know, the future point guard for your team. There's obviously Doncic out there that you possibly could see as a two-way guard or possibly a guy who could bring, you know, be a point forward. But then again, there is not a top of the class guard, at least in the top 5. There is Colin Sexton from Alabama out there. He is a point guard, but he is more, you know, 6th, 7th, 8th. Prospect in this
he's
draft.
Outside of that kind of unanimous top 5, and I think it's pretty clear cut right now. There's a lot of questions. There's still a lot of basketball to be played. Look, we're a handful of games into the season, but right now it's a bunch of big men and a bunch of wings. So it's very hard with this team because I personally see as like Rolo being one of the guys, obviously his bargaining chip to get out of there, Nico to get out of there, and then you really look at this team and could they go after a center like Ayton or Bamba? Could they go after another large power forward and use as like we can go with 2 bigs and just run with 1 on the outside with Markkanen, and you know maybe even comes inside a little bit if we go with somebody like Bagley. It just comes down to which kind of slot are we trying to fill. Like technically we don't have a small forward. I think I'm still in the boat of like Doncic should just be the guy.
There's Doncic and Porter as well. I mean, those both are
the argument
forwards
from last week. You could go check that out if you want to.
But and then bringing in, you got to think like who's going to fit in the system. So that's why we bring in Fred Hoiberg. Signed a 5-year contract. I think it was 2 years ago, right, when he was brought in as head coach. Well, 3 years because this is his 3rd year coaching. Brought in 3 years ago, so he's in his 3rd of 5 years in that contract. Looking at Fred Hoiberg so far, do you blame him for the way this team's been playing, or do you think there's not a talent on that team? Like, is Fred Hoiberg worth keeping around? Like, is it just everyone on this team is a pile of garbage, including the coach?
I don't think so, and that's the thing. Like, personally, the Hoiball bullshit for his first couple of years, and that's what it is. Everybody refers to as Hoiball. Sorry, it's a bad joke, but like he didn't have the respect of his team when he came into the league. He was a college coach, and he was very much the wrong guy for the job with the roster he had. He had a very talented, very veteran-heavy roster who was good, needed a little bit of coaching in certain areas, needed a little bit of locker room help, and he wasn't the right guy for it. And he tried to force, you know, square peg, round hole. Bad job. Just absolutely awful. Should have been fired at that point. But he got the grace of Garpax, and, you know, we don't want to waste money, so we're going to keep with you. Trade everybody out, got young talent. Well, we hope talent. We got younger.
You got younger.
We got younger.
That's all you have. You didn't get talent. You got younger. Because you got rid of the best talent that's been here.
So we got younger, and we're trying to space. Even if it's not efficiently spacing, we're going to space the ball. And that's, at least they're playing into the system now. Now you have guys buying in. You have guys like Grant and Holiday going out there and shooting threes, spraying the ball around more, not bunching up the paint like our old system did heavily. So,
but do you think the system will work in the NBA? Do you think Fred's ideas and Fred just as a coach can last in the NBA? Not only does the system, but also Fred as a coach in the NBA can last. Because
I think he can, as long as he can grow this core. Like, I don't see any other team picking him up at this point. Like, if he gets cut at midseason, end of season,
he'll go back to college.
Yeah, there's no team in the NBA who would sign him. But if he can get this core to succeed, absolutely. And look, his system isn't like a crazy whatever thing. It's not like awful. It's a variance of what we're seeing already in the NBA. He just didn't have the talent to use the system the way he wanted to, and he refused to adapt. Like, that's a giant red flag for me as a coach. But whatever, we're past that point, and now that we've got players who are at least willing to play it, it's great. We need players who are actually successful in playing that system now.
Next year, is he the coach?
Yeah, I'm going with it. We're cheap and we're not going to pay anybody else.
Okay, so then taking in the fact that that system's not going to change, you need to get players for that system. Let's get into the fun stuff, the draft prospects. So we're looking at this. We're going to say Chris Dunn's the future, not the future point guard, but at least the point guard. I think
lock him in right now
next
as a point
year.
guard.
So we'll say that Chris Dunn, especially with the lack of true #1 guards out there in the draft, true point guards out there in the draft. Again, Sexton is out there, and if he starts to improve, then maybe you start to consider him more. But right now,
we're like Duval. Still,
from Duke.
Yeah. Look, I watched him live. That's probably helping, but he's been playing really well. I don't think he's a 1 yet. I think he's outside of that top 5, but if there was like obviously awful luck with the lotto, or if we want to trade back for some awful reason, like, he's not a bad player in my mind.
So there's not, you have Duvall, you have Sexton, so those guys are outside, but right now they aren't looking like top 5 worthy. So looking at the top 5, you got Doncic, you got Porter, you got Bagley, you got Ayton, and then you got Bamba as well. So looking at all of those guys, it's pretty much 2 centers in Ayton and Bamba. Then you look at Bagley, he's a tweener between a 4 and a 5. He wants to be a 4.
Right.
Probably has the moveset and physicality to be a 5, but then again, he's kind of small to be a 5.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't have the muscle mass.
Taking in Doncic, he's 6'8", 6'7", 6'9". Again,
make up whatever number you want.
European height, it's tough to actually get a true number. I've seen 6'7", I've seen 6'9", and in the same draft profile, I've seen they refer to him as 6'9" and 6'7". So he's probably, let's just call him 6'8" in the middle. But he is more of a point forward.
Sean.
He's more of a point guard in a 6'8" body.
Yeah.
And then also Michael Porter, he's 6'10".
Okay,
forward,
the height is a big deal.
Small forward, being athletic. So at least looking at this, you have at least 2 of those spots needed to be filled because at the 1 you got Chris Dunn, Zach LaVine, you're going to have him at the 2, and then Laurie's going to be a 4. So you have pretty much Bagley that could possibly fit as a 5.
Yep.
But he's a tweener, and then you have at least the center position that is open for Bamba and open for Ayton, and then the 3, which is open for Doncic and Porter. So taking in all of that, taking in the players that are currently there, Dunn, LaVine, and Markkanen, which player best fits the Chicago Bulls system and Fred Hoiberg system?
All right. See, it's such a tough question. I'm going to break it down a couple different ways, and I'll try to be as quick as I can about it. I think that if we are able to move Rolo, then Ayton is the guy I would go after because honestly, even though in his hands seem to be like tiny or he just has like butter on them, I don't know what it is. He has one of the higher upsides just from a physicality standpoint. From a stroke, from his basketball IQ isn't awful, and for a big man having a quality shot, having a decent IQ, like he seems to have all the right things lined up for him. It's just I don't know what it is about his handles are just awful right now. I don't know if it's early season jitters or what, but like he has some of the highest upside I've seen. With that being said, that's only if we're able to move Rolo to get back something. If we keep Rolo, I'm fine with it. He's a great veteran. He's an awesome locker room guy. Cool. We're going to small forward then, and honestly, it's kind of a toss-up between, like you said, between Porter and Doncic.
Which one do you feel fits better, though? Because you have...
Fit versus who I like better is a different question.
Exactly. That's what I'm asking. Who fits better in the Chicago Bulls system? I know you like Doncic better.
Yep.
I like Porter better. But at least fit-wise, who do you like better for the Chicago Bulls?
I'm going to go with Doncic on this one because I think that there's still too many question marks in my mind about Chris Dunn being your sole point guard, being your sole ball handler. I know that there were some instances in the previous years with Zach LaVine doing a combo guard while they had Rubio out, and it didn't work amazingly. He had some turnover issues. With that being said, I still like Doncic there because he is a confident ball handler at a very, very young age. That makes me feel like it's the highest upside. If you roll out Dunn, LaVine, Doncic, Markkanen, and Rolo, that's a good starting 5. That's quality right there. So I'd feel good about that. But if you go the other route, you're just left with that glaring question mark at small forward. And unless we get, if we get like a 17 or something for Rolo, maybe we can answer that.
Do you think that at least for the Bulls they should be going fit, or do you think they should be going potential?
That's so tough. I want a 2K so bad right now. Like,
what does that mean?
Like play 2K. Like 2K Ricky, do you not remember?
What does that mean? Like
awful trades, awful ideas.
No, potential-wise. At least,
I know.
What do you think is better for the Chicago Bulls? Fit or potential?
I think potential. If you're at the top of the draft, you take the best available player. I think walking away from the best available player is the wrong move. There is instances where it has and hasn't worked out, obviously, but if you have the guy with the most upside, most potential, you have to take him. Fit be damned. Would you rather have a guy who can turn out to be, I'm just going to use it and I'm going to hate myself, Joel Embiid, where he was the most talented player in his draft class, got injured, and obviously has had injury concerns since, but when he's out there, he's looked amazing and game-changing. Or you could have somebody who is a safer bet, but not game-changing, like someone like Nerlens Noel.
Yeah.
Like, yes, he's a great player, but his potential isn't nearly as high.
And that's why I'm iffy about going Doncic, because he is a for sure player in the NBA.
Yep.
But I don't know if he's a for sure star. And you look at Ayton, you look at Bagley, and you look at Porter. I think Porter probably has the highest star quality just because he is just playing the position that is the future of the NBA.
Yeah.
I know Ayton is ridiculously talented. I know Bagley's ridiculously talented. Same with Bamba as well. I don't want to disrespect him.
Yeah.
But the one thing is you look at the future of the NBA and it's point forwards. That's why I'm thinking Porter has the higher upside than Doncic. That's why I would go Porter. And I know that Doncic probably fit better with Markkanen and probably fit better with pick and rolls because he's great on the pick and roll. He's a great passer. He's also got a really nice stroke. But I think Porter's explosiveness, athleticism, and his ability to work in the pick and roll as well. He's also got a decent stroke. I feel like he has the better ability and the higher upside, and that's why you got to go Porter. I don't know if he fits better with this team, and it'd be an interesting fit with Chris Dunn, Zach LaVine, and
I think LaVine is kind of the guy who is the
well. I think they're similar
the pinnacle
in Porter and LaVine. I don't think but like you look at them and
but that's what I'm saying. Like I think how well LaVine does when he returns from his injury is going to decide like what they're going to go with because I think you're right. I think Porter has a crazy good upside and he's more aggressive as a player, more aggressive shooter, a solid passer still. But you need that guy to take over games, period. Yeah. And I'm not sold on Markkanen. I love what I've seen. But the question is LaVine going to be that guy? Or do you need someone like Porter to step in?
Well, and that's the thing is if you go Doncic and LaVine isn't that guy to take over, I would rather have the ability to lean on.
But
I would rather be able to lean on both LaVine and Porter than worry about because I feel like Doncic isn't the guy to be able to take the game over.
He's not going to average 30 points a game.
So I feel like you can
average 27.
You can go back and forth with Porter and LaVine and rely on them. So if one guy's cold, the other guy can step up. I just feel
it's a valid argument.
You look at the only problem that I would have was LaVine and Porter. They're at least more similar players where Doncic brings a different look. And a different change of pace where from Chris Dunn and Zach LaVine, where at least Porter and LaVine both athletic scorers, and that's the one thing that they can both drive, both ridiculously athletic. So I feel like that might be a little tricky, but I feel like the best fit for the Bulls, especially if they stay with Fred Hoiberg, might be Michael Porter Jr. because even if Hoiberg's not there, Porter will still fit into this NBA. But let us know who you think was the best fit for the Chicago Bulls in the 2018 NBA draft. Hey, maybe they go on a Miami Heat run and they get close to the playoffs.
Please, Zach LaVine, just stay down. Stay down.
Jesus.
If we're gonna lose, the top 3 pick, come on, I'm a trust the process kind of guy.
You trust Garpax's process?
No, but if
that means bring in 36-year-old veterans.
If we're gonna lose, we better lose them all.
Let us know who you think the Chicago Bulls should take in the 2018 NBA draft.